Hey everyone, welcome back to Bird Talk with Terrence Mathis. I'm William Brandon. Please make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel Atlanta Sports Unlimited and turn on those notifications so you don't miss an episode. This episode is brought to you by Prize Picks, the simplest sports fantasy game on the market. You can pick from multiple sports platforms and get this. Sign up using the code ASU, and Prize Picks will 100% match your initial offer up to $100. Well, the Atlanta Falcons suffered their first loss of the season at the hands of the Detroit Lions, 20-6. They pretty much got whooped, in my opinion. The defense played well, despite not getting any sacks. And they could only hold up for so long as the offense couldn't muster up any touchdowns on Sunday. What did you think about this display?
You know what? I'm a sit back like this for the whole show because there's no panic. I'm gonna be calm and cool. There's no panic. It's one game.
Right.
It was game three. They're 2-1. Okay, this young football team, especially offensively, is trying to find their identity. They don't know. Arthur Smith says what we do is run the ball, but they don't do it very well. So they're still trying to find their identity. Are we a play action team? Are we a down the field team? What kind of team are we offensively? But you cannot be a great offense if you don't protect the quarterback. It comes down to that. I was confused of a experienced offensive line that most of them has played together for a good while, how they played. It was disappointing to see, giving up 7 sacks and a lot of pressures, and run blocking was just not there at times. And at the end of the day, if you don't fix that, you can't even find an identity. You can't be a hit you in the mouth power running game, downhill running game. You can't be a down the field passing team if you can't protect the quarterback. Now, all of it wasn't, I don't feel that all of it was the offensive line fault. I think the play calling has to take some blame for it, and Ritter has to take some blame for it. A couple of times he was staring down a receiver and held the ball, wouldn't let it go. A couple of times, instead of putting the ball on the receivers, he led them into trouble where you see Jonnu Smith gets hit in the ribs, and then Hollins get hits in the mouth. And those balls are balls where in that little zone space, when people around, you got to put the ball in their face where they got to stop and catch the ball. You can't keep them moving. So it's still early, and I'm sure quarterback coach, offensive coordinator, Arthur Smith, they're talking about these. They talked about these things in Monday's meeting after the game, whatsoever. Now, defensively, I thought we got confused a little bit in the secondary on some plays whatsoever. We didn't cover. I don't think we covered well underneath man-to-man coverage. Here's the thing. Every team that we play run these underneath routes, what we call shallow crosses. Yeah. Shallow crosses are routes up under the linebackers, and you can see two where they make this mesh and might cause a pick. I think we're the only team in the NFL that doesn't do that offensively.
Right.
We have these big body receivers. We should be able to do that, where it's going to cause some miscommunications by the defense, and you can create some rubs where we can get these guys the ball on the run. And I don't know why that's not in the offense, especially when you run the ball so well and they have to block safeties or whatsoever. I mean, it's perfect for them because we line up tight. When we line up tight, we bring all 11 in the box, right, pretty much, and it's going to be hard to run the ball. But if you run in some shallow crosses and some mesh plays to get these guys open, I think it would help Ritter, and it would help this offense.
Oh, that's great insight. I saw like maybe one, it looked like they tried to do a mesh, but he missed Bijan when he was cutting out, because they kind of had like a rub route, but yeah. I don't see it as well. Like, I have to agree with you. I'm gonna start with the head coach, and if he's still calling the offensive plays, which I've heard he may be, I don't know if it's time, but maybe he needs to let someone actually do that, and him just focus on the head coaching duties. Mm-hmm. Because like I said, this is his third year. I don't want to use the word hot seat yet, but
right,
you know, we don't want to keep going down that path. And when
right,
I say we, Falcon Nation, Falcon fans, we'll say it's a different team, but things seem familiar. Like you were talking
right,
about those routes in a sense, like
right,
for the longest, Michael Thomas has killed the Atlanta Falcons with those type of
right,
routes. And now it's like
right,
every team we play, they do
right,
those mesh routes on us.
right,
The offensive scheme, we're doing play action a lot, and we didn't really establish the run. You know they're going
right,
to send everybody.
right.
I'm like,
Exactly, exactly.
I think it was before half, maybe we were trying to get some points, and we did it. We were backed up against their own end zone. We're already backed up, and then they
Hmm.
did a play action. He got sacked
Right,
on the first play, and then
right,
after that, we were just basically gave them the ball back again, had to punt to them.
right, right,
I feel like we have to get back to that identity of running the ball some way, somehow. I wish they would have just stayed consistent, but it was like every time they came out, even when it was 3-3, 6-3, we were throwing first,
hmm,
and then it wasn't routes that were actually, you know, I don't know if it's using Ritter's strengths or not, but it's definitely not using all the skilled players'
right.
strengths. Kyle Pitts seems to be nursing something. I'm not sure
Yes,
if he can give full
right,
what he can give, because
right,
there were some plays I thought maybe he would have made, but then you look at
right.
the video of it, it looks like he's kind of lame with it. So
Yeah, yeah. He looked a little hurt, gimpy a little bit, running balls. Um, you know, I've been watching Kyle Pitts for the last couple of years or so. And here's the thing, and it's not funny, but it's just an observation.
mhm,
I think he has trouble tracking the ball in the air because his angles looks when the ball is in the air, it looks like he does not see it until it's right up on him and then it's by him. Instead of him seeing it at a point and making the adjustment to get the
right,
ball. Now I know he wears glasses. Now, does he wear contacts when he plays? That's the question.
mhm,
So, and I'm this is just something I see
right,
where on balls, deep balls, crossing balls, over balls, when the ball is in the air, it seems like he doesn't find it until the last minute. Is it the lights? Is it the windows in Mercedes Benz where he loses it for a second? I don't know what it is, but I think that needs to be addressed, and I think that needs to be fixed. Um, when we started the game play action before we even established the run.
right,
And here's the thing that is a pet peeve to me. I'm not even talking about the Falcons, it's just across the league.
mhm,
It could be 3rd and 8 plus, and you play action on 3rd and 8 plus. We know you're throwing the football. We know
right,
you it's no secret, and they're coming off the edge, and you're not fooling anybody. Let's just get in gun, drop back, and find a guy, find a window, and throw the football. But um, I still think they're just trying to find their identity. You have so many weapons that it's hard to try to make everyone happy. You see what I'm saying? So I remember a coach. I had June Jones,
mhm,
and I remember a conversation that years ago, coach was saying, "Hey, yeah, I was talking to June Jones about, what you guys did offensively and how you guys caught a lot of balls whatsoever." And he says, "Whoever was hot, I made sure I put the ball in his hands until they stopped it."
right,
Says so. If I was going to Andre Rison, they couldn't. I'm gonna keep going and go make you calling plays for him until they stop. If it's Terrence, I'm gonna keep calling plays until it stops him. Instead of saying, "Okay, I'm gonna throw one over here. He caught it. Let me throw one over here. He caught it. Let me throw one over here. He caught it." And I think with this offense right now is you so enamored with Robinson that you got him in motion, you got him in the slot, you got him playing out wide. He's in the backfield, he's doing all these things, and there's so much attention around him right now that I think that uh, it throws off the rhythm of the play calling, if
mhm,
that makes any sense. And if you recall, I said the same thing when when Patterson is in the game, when he leaves for a
Right.
while, then he comes back. I think the rhythm goes off because you're trying to feed him and feature him at the time instead of letting the offense feature them. You see what I'm saying? Let it let it flow,
Oh,
and
naturally, yeah.
then let it happen organically instead of trying to force it, which makes your other players uninterested when you do that. So I'm not in a panic right now because we're going into week 4. They have a chance to right the ship going over to London. Um, they just have to find their identity, and they have to find it early. You know, you're known for running the football, but every team in the NFL knows you want to run the football, run the football, run the football. They did their homework. They're finding a way to stop this uh, wide zone running scheme. I don't know. Do you go to a power running scheme? Do you go to an inside zone running scheme? I don't know, but you have to find a way to get back on track of rushing for 200 yards a game. And your quarterback has to be in today's game for that to happen. Your quarterback has to be a threat at some point of running the football. Either it's a called quarterback run, or if it's an option run, or even if it's just scrambling and getting out of the pocket and getting 4 or 5 yards at a time. Um, and we briefly talked about this defense. Let me tell you something. Bates is a grown man.
Yeah, he is.
This dude is a grown man. And he has championship pedigree. Everybody say, oh, here you go. Yeah, he has championship pedigree, and you can tell the level of degree of professionalism that this man has when he plays, and he's serious. When he got that
I was gonna
penalty
say,
card on him, when he got that penalty card on him, he just shook his head and came back and wham. I
yeah,
said,
look,
now that's how you shake off a bad play and make a play. That's a professional for you right there. So we need these guys to be in that film room going, ooh, I gotta play to the level of Bates, the third. Bates Motel. It is what it is.
yeah. Me and my buddies, we went up there and we had some good seat. We're in the end zone. We're like row 7, and
Mhm.
it was in the other end zone. And it was right before half of that play occurred. We had some more Falcon fans
Right.
behind us. And I would say the Detroit fans are very loud consistently. They get loud and louder. And they were fun fans too. We had no
Mhm.
issues. But at the other end of the field, when we see that, we we for sure thought we were coming off the field. Jesse Bates had made a great play. And then everybody's like, I'm like, well, he couldn't even call that. He was throwing that away.
Right. Right.
There's no
Yeah.
way.
He
So
he
I
ran
asked the
into him.
Lion. Yeah, I
Yeah.
asked the Lion fans. They're like, yeah, he was throwing that away. They just gave
Mhm.
y'all. They just gave us one. So they were even admitting they just threw the
Right.
cloud. Like, oh my gosh, can't believe this. So here we are, us, our little 4 or 5 friend group is trying to get us loud in sea of 60,000, which ain't making a difference. But we're like, come on. So then JC, like you said, that next play, Jesse laid the wood. I think it was on the running back,
Right.
knocked
Mhm.
him back. And then the next play, he made him play. And then like the third down, he
Right.
made a play. And I was like, see, that right there, I have tremendous respect for that.
Yep.
He was so mad. You could see him in the end zone. He looked at the ref like, what?
Yeah.
You gonna call
Yeah.
that? And he said, okay.
Yep.
And you could see him pacing.
Mhm.
He had some rage going through him. And
Right.
he
Right.
delivered those plays. And after he
Right.
did, and they kicked that field goal, I seen him on the side. He was
Yeah.
hyped, like, yes.
Yeah. That's what it
You're
was.
right. We need those type of guys, man, that
Yeah. Yeah.
and even I didn't get to hear much of Grady's name, but Grady made some big defensive plays where
Yes, he
we were
did.
double teamed and
Yes.
broke through and still got
Yes.
to Jared Goff. I'm like,
Yes, he did. He did. We didn't get many sacks whatsoever, but we got a lot of pressures on him. Bud Dupree got some pressure. That defensive line, I thought played pretty well. I thought that they handled the run well. Um, we just we had some miscommunications in the secondary, and I didn't think that would happen with the kind of coaching that they have. And I'm sure that's going to be fixed in a hurry.
yeah,
So
That I think, and what he's talking about, I'm sure, is that the touchdown to the rookie tight end Seth Laporta.
Yes.
It was wide open. I
Right.
thought there was a penalty because I was like, "There's
Right.
no way he's that wide open."
Wide
But
open.
it was a
Right.
rubber. I thought it was a legal pick, something.
No, he just a great move on the guy, and he just froze him, and he kept going. I was
Yep.
like, wow. I mean, you got to. But here's the thing: you have to give credit to the Detroit Lions. They played at home.
Right.
They're the team to beat in NFC Central. Um, they finished the year strong last year. They have a whole lot of momentum. They had just lost overtime to Seattle the week before, and it's a really good football team.
Right.
And I said that before we even played. I says, here's a test on the road against a really good physical football team. And it's going to be important how our offensive line plays against this front of the Detroit Lions. And we didn't play well. So, here we go. Week 4, here's a chance to correct that on a short week, because they're flying out on Thursday. So there's not much practice here in the States, but when they get over there, they gotta practice, and then you got that early morning game. But I truly think this team is still on the verge of doing some really, really good teams this year.
Yeah, I agree. Like I said, it's one game.
Yeah.
Everybody else in the division lost. We are
Mhm.
still tied for first with
Yeah.
New Orleans and Tampa, and
Right.
Carolina sits at 0-3.
Right.
The only knockback on this current loss right now is if we meet up in playoff contention, they would have
Right.
a breaker over us. That's the only
Right.
thing right now that matters. As you said, we're traveling to London. I was kind of wondering, would they just leave from Detroit and go over there? They were already on top half of the United States, maybe going
Right.
across, but I guess not. I
No.
don't know. What you as a player going overseas? I know you went over to Japan that time, but is it something you would probably want to go ahead and go, or you want to come back home and see the family after that loss, and then go to London?
The only thing good about that trip is good for the NFL.
Right. Well,
It's
yeah.
good. It's good for them to brand their
brand across the pond
over there. It's not like here it is. It's not like the NBA where you're going to get some people. It's not like that. It's not like that. You're taking the NBA overseas, and then all of a sudden you got an influx of uh, of people from overseas playing.
What if they ever have a team over there?
Well,
could you imagine that? Like, is that possible to travel?
the only place you can have a team probably is in Canada, like in Toronto or somewhere like that, Montreal or somewhere like that. It'll be hard to have it. It's too far of travel for team. You have to leave on a Thursday, and and then it's going to take you a few days to recover. That means you're going to have to, after that trip, you don't play again probably for another week or two. And if you're going to do that, if you're going to play over there, both teams going to need a bye week the week after. If that's what the NFL wants to do. But I don't understand. I mean, I know there's fans all over the world, and they want to see NFL football whatsoever, and it's great to let them get to see what we see and we take for granted each year and each weekend. And I think that's fun. But for the players, I think it's the first couple of times, it's like, okay, yeah. But then all of a sudden, every other year, or it's like, wait a minute now, we've done this before. Let's let some other teams do it. Why it has to be us every other year? So I can't speak for the players, but it has to be draining, man. It has to be.
Yeah, I was going to say that, but sorry, would you though rather come home first before you go to London, or would you like to just go straight from Detroit?
I would rather come home first.
Okay.
I would rather come home first because it gives me a chance to get myself together whatsoever, especially after a loss. You want to you want to be want your wife to rub
Yeah,
your
I'm about
head,
to say
say,
be around your
baby, it's
loved ones. Yeah,
okay. You want them kids to run and jump in your arms and say, Daddy, Daddy, I
yeah,
see you on TV. I was like, that's my daddy. You want that, you know? And then you get that for a few days, and then you get on the road and you're ready to go. But you know, it's different when you got to talk to them on the phone. You know, hey baby, how you doing? How's the kids? Daddy, Daddy, we miss you. I'll be
right.
home in another week or 10 days or so, you know?
Mhm.
So that's tough. So I would rather go home first and see my family, and for them to to help me forget
Right.
about the game, win or loss, to
And,
forget
one
about the game.
and one thing, like you said, you were talking about taking the bye. Well, Arthur Smith, they elected not to take the bye this year. So after
Mhm.
coming back, they'll turn right around and play at home the
Right,
following week. So
right,
we're not taking our bye towards the end of the season. So
right,
I hope that doesn't impact them any
right.
kind of healing wise thing like that. Just because
Yeah,
your body gets jet lagged,
yeah, yeah.
sore. You feel I
Source.
felt tired coming back from Detroit, and
Right.
that's not even we're in the same time zone. So
Well, yeah,
I
and the thing is, you know, after you play in a football game whatsoever, you know, your muscles, you get, you swell up,
right.
you know, you ache more, you know, and then when you come down and those and all that swelling comes out, then you start feeling, okay, why am I hurting here? Why am I
Mhm.
hurting there? So it takes you about 3 days to recover from an overseas trip.
Yeah,
It takes you a minute. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, they chose not to take that bye, and just keep him playing. I understand what he's doing. I truly understand what he's doing. Here's the thing: you're going over there to play the Jacksonville Jaguars.
right.
You know, they
Come on,
found out
Ross.
they found out also they weren't as good as they thought they were.
Right.
So it's back to the drawing board for them too. So here's two teams who who has high hopes for the season,
Mhm.
and they stumbled in week 3. So now it's one of these games that's going to be a dogfight, because they're both trying to recover and lick their wounds from the weekend before, and they're probably going back to basics and doing what they do best.
Mm.
So it's gonna be a good football game. And here's the thing, it, Calvin Ridley wants to show out.
Yeah.
He wants at the end of the day, he wants us to look at the box score and say, hey, I outplayed your receiver one.
Mm.
Y'all let me go. Y'all drafted him, and you let me go. And look what I did against your wide receiver one. Now, Drake London going, hey, OG, I'm the new one in town.
Mhm.
Let me show you why they drafted me and let you go. So it's one of those things. It's one of, and I say that because I've been in that position before.
And who
I've
was
been in
that
that
with?
position. Well, here's the thing. I've been in that position where I came in
Mhm.
and
Was it
caught all these
Rising?
balls, went to the Pro Bowl. A couple of years later, they let Andre Rison go,
Mhm.
and um, now all of a sudden it was like, oh, you're supposed to be the dude now, huh? Okay, uh-huh, yeah. Andre goes off, wins, gets a Super Bowl ring whatsoever, and all those things, and then I have to say, I have to show him, hey, all right, I'm still that dude. Even in a different offense, I'm still that dude. And you you find things when you get older to motivate you to play each year. Even when you read things and he says, hey, Terrence Mathis just turned 30. He's lost a step, blah, blah, blah. What are you talking about? Just because I turned 30, I automatically lost a step. And so it motivates you. And then you hear that 49ers or the Rams or the Buccaneers or whoever it may be, the Saints. Oh, they got these defensive backs, blah 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 blah. You find billboard material for yourself
Mhm.
to get motivated, because at the end of the day, you do everything correctly, you prepare right, but then you need that one little thing that takes you over the edge where you say, okay, let me show them. And that's what it's about. I mean, you can't just go in a football game and play a football game. You got to have an edge there. You got to find something that motivates you to take you to that edge. It's perfect example. And I'm not talking about the Falcons here. If you remember last week, Philly was on TV, and their wide receiver, his name is I can't remember, number 11.
Smith. AJ
Number
Brown.
11.
Yeah, AJ Brown. That was the one.
AJ Brown.
Yeah.
He was frustrated. He went to the sideline fussing, and the head coach came over and he just did like that, right? So they came out the next series and threw him 2 or 3 straight balls. Okay. So he was still frustrated.
Last night.
Then last night, he went for 11 catches for 139 whatsoever. And but here's the thing. This is what I'm getting at. When you wide receiver 1 and you're on my football team, if you're not frustrated that you're not getting the ball, and if you're not saying anything to anybody about getting the football, I don't want you on my football team. Because when you do that and you say, get me the ball, I want to be a part, I want to make some plays, it tells me that this dude wants to win.
Right.
Because if he's playing at a high level, we have a chance to win. If he's not giving me anything, our chances of winning is down. So I got to make sure my dude is happy. And I got to make sure if he's happy and playing well, everybody else is doing the same thing. So that's where, and a lot of people don't understand that when they see those arguments on, oh, he's crying. Why is he crying, baby? Why is this? No. If you don't want to make plays on my football team, you can't play for me. Point blank. Because I have thick enough skin as a coach to say, I got you. Calm down. I got you. We'll find a way. You're not, why are you talking to me like that? Be a team player. Because I want dudes on my team that want to be superstars. If you don't want dudes on your team that want to be superstars and they just want a logo and on Monday afternoons after meetings collect a check, you're gonna have a long season.
What because I've got to address it because I know fans want to know. I've heard too many questions, and again, it's only one loss, but people are already questioning the Ritter, questioning our quarterback. Should he be replaced? Is Arthur Smith going to replace him? This, that, and the third. And then if not, is that an Arthur Smith problem? Is Arthur Smith the problem? I personally, I still have to see more, and I feel like the quarterback does have more. I just feel like how the offense is drawn up currently, it's they're not designed to feature maybe his best abilities. It reminds me a lot of how they handled how Mariota was kind of handled. I mean, eventually we saw Mariota couldn't make those passes, but I think those doubts are starting to creep in fans' heads about Ritter.
Well, my question is this too: if I would walk into a meeting room, an offensive meeting room, and my question to the quarterback coach and the offensive coordinator would be, what is his best throws? What is he comfortable with? Where does he like to throw the ball? What type of routes does he like to throw? Now I'm gearing my passing scheme around that. Not just saying, okay, all right, here's the whole passing scheme, make it work. No, there's not a star all-pro quarterback in a league that plays like that, but maybe one. Mahomes. You can just give Mahomes whatever, and he just like Magic Man. But you see what I'm saying? You got to find out what he does best. And then what he doesn't do best, you got to take it out the offense. You got to do it. And so what? It could be only 10 pass plays that's okay. Put the team in different formations, different personnel, but make it his best 10 plays whatsoever. Here's the thing, but I started this. If you can't protect, it doesn't matter.
You're right, because
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
7 sacks is ridiculous.
Yeah, it doesn't matter if you can't protect him. Come on, man. I used to when I was coaching and we gave up sacks whatsoever. I used to tell the offensive line, I said, "Why don't you get back there and play quarterback and let these receivers and running backs and quarterbacks try to block for you and see what you do. After about 5 sacks or so, maybe less than that, you're going to drop back and look at the rush and see who's coming first before you even look downfield. That's why young quarterbacks are late downfield, because they've been pressured a lot. Now they're looking and say, okay, I see a little color, and they take their eyes off the read, and by the time they come back to that read, they're late. So it's either out of bounds or a pick or over the head or short or something like that, or a sack.
I saw that specifically when McGrary, I think Jonnu Smith initially engaged the block, but he pulled out, and then McGrary was supposed to maintain the block. And I forgot he just ran. McGrary just stuck his arm out, and he hit Ritter so hard. The next play, Ritter did exactly almost what you're saying. Bailey started coming, and he was like, got to get out there.
Right. Exactly. So, you have to protect. You have to protect.
Well, hopefully next week we can do much better up in London. What you got for us to end the day?
I'm gonna make it quick. Here's the thing. If you don't think God can do amazing things for you, and you think you're just ordinary, and why me? I'm nobody. I don't make a whole lot of money. I don't have a good job. My wife left me. My husband left me. Blah blah blah. This and that. I get it. I get it. But let me tell you something. I said, here's the thing. You believe in that Bible. You believe everything in that Bible, right? Let me tell you about it. Let me tell you about a couple of people. Moses stuttered. Moses even murdered somebody. But he brought over 600,000 Egyptians out of Egypt, Israelites out of Egypt. God put this man in a position of leadership. Here, Noah was a drunk. Noah didn't know how to build boats. God showed him how to build boats to save the livestock, to save the animals, and to preserve life. David sent a man to battle so he can get killed to take his wife. But David was king of a lot of nations. So just because you have done something in the past, or just because people say you're not worthy, that's who God wants to bless, because he wants to show his amazing grace over your life to show people, hey, this is who he or she used to be, but with God, this is who and she is now. I'm telling you, it doesn't matter what you did in your past. I tell people that, people say, I remember when you used to do this and used to do that. And I says, probably my mama remember when I used to poop in my diapers, but I don't poop in my pants anymore. I grow out of that. I move away from that. So you can say, oh, Terrence, I remember guess what? I did that. Yeah, I did that. But that's not who I am now. And that's not who I'm going to be in the future. So when God has a plan for you, and when you find out how the amazing things that he can do for you, even a little one like you, I'm telling you, he can do it, but you got to trust him. You got to trust him. You got to trust him and believe. Yep.
Thank you as always, T. Appreciate
that. Man.
All right, Falcons. Y'all know what to do. Let's first off, Falcon Nation, relax. It's only one loss. We're going across the pond, 3-1. Let's make it happen.
Peace.